Alright, let's do this. Not gonna lie, Trey is one of my more favorite characters to use in this game. I think he's a lot of fun. You probably wouldn't be able to tell that based on the lack of armor I've given him. But I guess more on that later. Aerith, prayer of Cetra, because she only has one ingot, and so she does not start with it. And here I kind of make an interesting decision. So Eald'Narche is being targeted, and Trey is being targeted, and they're probably both going to get hit with an HP attack, or at least one of them, because obviously Eald'Narche is going to do enough damage to the other to stop him. And I chose to let Eald'Narche take the hit, because I know Eald'Narche can just fully heal himself when he phase shifts, and this will activate some of the Esper passives for Eald'Narche that require you to take some damage. So that's why I did that. Don't you worry though, Trey's gonna get hit plenty in this run. But yeah, Seal Evil's up. And now we can start to do some real damage with Aerith's defense down aura coming from Seal Evil. And technically we're not even... yeah, how's that for damage? Technically we're not even done setting up yet because Aerith still has to apply Horror Frame debuff to the enemies as much as she can, of course. Trey's Grand Delta applies a frame debuff. What is it called? Something arrow. And that also increases brave damage, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot exactly what it does. Not gonna lie. But I know it, all brave attacks instantly break, which is really nice for handling this orb, especially because Eald'Narche is not good for handling this orb. Yeah, I was debating who to attack there, because I don't want Trey to take a big hit, but yeah, A has that glowing aura, which is going to make it a little trickier to break A without Grand Delta. But yeah, Trey is just fantastic for this stage. He makes the orb almost not even existent. And then Friend Emperor also does very well. I don't typically recommend picking a Friend Emperor to go with your Eald'Narche, because that's a lot of frame debuffs you have to worry about. But one advantage to doing it, which you'll see me do here, is Eald'Narche on his warp turns. If you bring the friend in, you can get an additional turn. You'll get a 6th turn. So we're phase shifting here. And Vortex is ready, but Warp is not applied. And Eald'Narche is not being targeted. So I might as well just Omega Javelin here, or use his LD, but I don't have Vortex. Don't listen to me. Clearly I have Vortex for the extra damage. That, and by the time I get to around 2 Omega Javelin or Exceed Lancing, I want it to be charging up Vortex some more. Unfortunately, they're targeting Trey and not Eald'Narche. Some more Grand Deltas. And they just won't stop targeting Trey. Now they're getting their red shields, which means they're ready to do some big HP attacks that splash to other party members. Fun fact, if they're doing an HP attack that's splashing to other party members like they're setting up to do now, as you'll see, Terror will still stop them even though they're not targeting Eald'Narche. Raining arrows is so much fun. So yeah, even though they're not targeting Eald'Narche, they still can't do anything. As far as bringing Emperor in, I'm gonna do it kind of early, because he really interrupts Eald'Narche's flow, and once you get them terror locked, you don't really want to mess that up. But I am going to let them get off their HP attacks, because I don't want Eald'Narche's frame debuffs to be on them when Emperor comes in. And again, at the same time, I want to try and get that 6th turn for Emperor, so that way he can get an HP+++ in and activate a bunch of his traps. Fatal Arrow. That's what Trey's debuff is called. Got some launches ready to go here. This is not a good launching team, but whatever. We'll take all the points we can get for the score because we're going to need it. Gee, Pikachu, why would you say that? Oh, you'll find out. This was a very interesting run. A lot of fun. Alright, his red shield is gone. I'm hoping to get their red shields gone by the time I bring Emperor, so that way they don't have, like, higher defense when Emperor comes out. And so, just like that, Emperor can hit them for 9s. Because Emperor has many brave attacks in his kit, and many HP dumps. As opposed to Eald'Narche, but... I mean, Eald'Narche still wants to hit them hard. See, Eald'Narche wasn't hitting for 9s there. And so I'm assuming that that's because he still has his red aura shield thing up. So I expect A to do the attack. Yeah. So I healed everybody with Aerith because I expected that attack to come through. Now Eald'Narche is on his free turn. I'm going to bring in Emperor. And I'm going to accidentally EX. That was actually a misclick. I wanted to bring out his burst first. But even though the run wasn't perfect, it'll still work. Although, I need Emperor's traps to still be on them when I get that one HP plus attack in. HP+++ attack in with Emperor. So, anyways, now that Eald'Narche is not here, I want to make sure I delay them as best as I can and push them back as much as I can. See, now we'll get Emperor's burst off. I was kind of hoping, this was my first time running this team. Well, I did a test run of it. This is actually my second time. I did a test run of it with no friend unit in case it failed, and it actually did quite well. So now I'm doing a real run and recording it with an Emperor friend. But I did not know if Emperor's Burst did a Bravery Fund for Trey when Trey's Raining Arrow effect comes down, activates. And it does not, unfortunately. That would have been pretty sweet, but it does not. Kryle's Earth Crystal will, but that's for another team. So, let's see. Yeah, Seal Evil. Prevent the Seal Evil buff from coming off of Aerith. Definitely the way to go. Aerith's Seal Evil defense down aura is just so bloody powerful. So what I should do here is HP+++ A, so I don't risk A losing the debuffs. Yeah, I do it. Good. Get that out of the way. And I'm able to do this because... Oh no, I don't do it. Okay. Emperor's going to get another turn anyways. That's when I'll do it. I guess that was big braining a delay thing there, because B got delayed from breaking, and so then A could get delayed from the Hellish Gate, which delays one. But yeah, on Emperor's next turn, I'm definitely going to have HP+++ B. Because I need to do that before the traps activate. And then I kind of want the traps to activate before Eald'Narche comes back. So you really have to be, and that Grand Delta hits so much stronger with Emperor's Burst effect. But yeah, you have to be kind of careful. You can't be too relaxed about the turns. So this should be the HP+++. Yep. And now A can take a turn and activate the traps, and whatever. There goes the Raining Arrows. So, yeah, Emperor's Burst effect refund came into play there, but it won't come into play here. Would have been really sweet if it did, but it won't. Probably would have been overpowered, but yeah. Hellish Gate. now A will finally get a turn. So when Eald'Narche is out, you kind of want to break them out of order, because you want the enemies to take as many turns as possible, so Eald'Narche can get as many free turns as possible, with some exceptions, but that's for the most part how you want to do it. With Emperor out, on the other hand, I want to break them in order, so that way they get as few turns as possible, because Emperor is more normal than Eald'Narche with his rotations. And Emperor's about to get 2 turns in a row, which will work out perfect, because Emperor can Hellish Gate here on either A or B. Probably B is the way to go. Oh, and a launch. Nice. And then Eald'Narche will come back out right afterwards. Emperor's nice for this stage too. He does so much bloody damage. But look at that, almost 500,000 with the LD and a delay. What are we, Kuja? Anyways, had to pause there for a second, so a jump in the music. And we exceed Lance, because it's going to be time to apply Terror again. And a nice launch. Got both Aerith and Trey in there, and they both had a good amount of Brave, even if it's not a launching team. Knocked in below the 49% threshold. So B is targeting Trey, A is targeting everyone. So unfortunately, Terror won't stop B at the moment, but it will stop A. Hopefully B will just target Eald'Narche after this. And B did not delay himself there. And then this happened. Well, I guess I got my wish. B is now targeting Eald'Narche, even though it doesn't look like it. Yeah, so I'm pausing here for a second because I'm debating if I need to end the run or not. Spoiler alert, I don't. I'm already this far into it, and it's like, is he still targeting Trey? That's so silly. And it's like, what? You know, what if, because the turn count is so stupidly low on this, 65 turns, what if Aerith could Prayer of the Cetra on Trey, bring him back, and then I could still make the score count? I guess not a score count, it's just a score, but what if that happened? So I thought, you know what, I'm already this far in. I had such a good run with Emperor as the friend unit. It worked out pretty much perfect. I didn't even have to summon Ramuh to get the turns to set up properly. The debuffs all worked properly. Screw it, I'm gonna give it a shot and see what happens. Now B's orb is down to 1. I was like, oh shoot. What do I do here? Like, if I can't break B, then B's orb's gonna trigger and I'm screwed. And then this happens, like, it's at 0 now. And so I was like, alright, I guess I'll summon Ramuh and see what happens. And it broke him and, like, put the orb back up. And so I was just in shock there for a second as to the fact that this actually worked. God, what a weird run this was. Like, Trey was killed and I brought him back to life. Like, the orb count went to 0 and now it's back up again. Like, oh boy. But anyways, I'm pretty sure nothing else crazy happens. Which is good because I'm running out of tricks up my sleeve. Eald'Narche is not that great in summon, as you can see. Neither are really the others, but whatever. At least the summon worked to recharge the orbs, and I shouldn't have to worry about the orbs for the rest of the match, thanks to Trey. Yeah. Fury Brand. So at this point, I'm not really worried about the orb. They're terror locked. There's nothing they can do. Eald'Narche has a good amount of skills left. And it's just a race against the turn count, which you'd think like, okay, they're at 38% HP. We're just over half the turn count because the turn count is 65, or the turn limit's 65. Like, we should have this. We're on par to have it, but a lot of that damage came from Emperor. So just keep that in mind. But we should still be able to get it. I mean, Eald'Narche is still hitting for 9s. And as long as we continue to break them out of order, Eald'Narche will get a bunch of free turns, do a bunch of damage. And man, Trey is still hitting real hard, despite being an older character. Double checking the Terror and Warp debuffs, because I do not want Trey to die. I don't want anyone else to die. I want to keep them terror locked. And Trey breaks them out of order for me, which is exactly what I wanted. Stellar Burst here, Vortex Plus will be up. And then A still has Terror, if I'm not mistaken. Because I'm trying to check B there. B has Warp, no Terror. And A should still have Terror. So what I can do is I can hold the Vortex Plus until A's turn and use it then, but I don't, because at this point I'm racing the turn count. More Grand Deltas. That Fatal Arrow does make a big difference, that debuff. I'm probably being overly conservative with Eald'Narche, but whatever. Attacking B instead of A, so I can continue to break out of order to give Eald'Narche more free turns. Aerith's low on Brave, so we should Brave attack plus plus instead of HP attack plus plus. That will be more efficient, because with her Seal Evil buff, she will still do an HP attack. Although I think, no, at some point Aerith loses Seal Evil because I get sloppy. And it's so funny, it like sneaks up on you just how powerful Seal Evil is, because it's like, oh, whatever, I can go one turn without it, especially if it comes up at the same time as Fury Brand. But yeah, you really don't want it to fall off, especially in these lower turn count battles. Double checking, we have Warp and Terror on B. I didn't see what it said on A. Must have said something good though. Because I'm not using skills just yet. So another thing about Eald'Narche, since we're talking about Eald'Narche, if you use Eald'Narche's HP++, on a free turn from Warp, it does not charge his EX gauge at all. But if you use one of his skills on his free turn from Warp, it will charge his EX gauge. And then on his regular turns that aren't free from Warp, if he uses HP++, it will charge the EX gauge at the standard half rate that a skill would. So, I guess I'm breaking out of order here, or in order, which is a little unusual for me to do with Eald'Narche, but I must be doing it for a good reason. I think what I'm trying to do is get that free turn on B, because I bet B still has Terror and A doesn't, or something like that. And so I'm trying to charge up Vortex Plus as quickly as I can. Use Trey's C65 for the free turn to charge up both of his skills, although it's really not needed, but I'm not really worried about the orb at this point, so whatever, might as well. Brave attacks with Aerith again, due to the Seal Evil buff. But yeah, what was I saying? So, if the most efficient way to charge up Eald'Narche's EX gauge for his Vortex Plus is to use skills on the free warp turns instead of an HP++, and then on your regular turns you use either an HP++ or a skill. But like, look at that. You're down to 29%. I still have 2 Exceed Lances. Like, I don't need to be so efficient with Eald'Narche. Stellar Burst again, mostly just to charge up the EX gauge because I don't have to worry about reapplying warp at the moment. So checking the debuffs. Because now I'm scarred from what happened to Trey. And there's my Vortex Plus. That thing hits so hard. And the third ingot only gives it 2 more brave hits, and nothing else. Well, I guess it gives it some overflow, but whatever. Although, in all fairness, Eald'Narche is still synergy for this event, so keep that in mind when looking at Eald'Narche's numbers. Eald'Narche is hitting with synergy stats. We'll see what I have to say about Eald'Narche for the next run or battle or whatever. Trey took another hit. Man, they really like HP attacking in this. And they really like HP attacking Trey. So it kind of sucks that I let Terror fall off of A. I think I kind of had to because I wasn't paying enough attention. But it kind of sucks now because A is no longer targeting Eald'Narche. I mean, I'll get A broken by the time A gets a turn. But A is no longer tear locked. Onion Knight Call right there. So that's going to allow me to break B again. It unbroke him, now I get to break him. And it gives Eald'Narche a little more power for the next 6 of his turns. What a weak little dinky hit from Trey right there in the launch. I am not impressed. So here I Fury Brand, but I should have used Seal Evil because Seal Evil is going to fall off. Which sucks because, well, now I'll have to take a few turns without that Seal Evil defense down aura, which is really, really powerful from Aerith. Oh, A is targeting Eald'Narche. I don't know what I was thinking earlier. Whatever, they're tear locked again. And I'm going to make sure it stays that way. So I figure I might as well use the C65 there before reapplying Seal Evil due to the fact that, well, I didn't really have anything else to lose for Aerith. So now we're coming a little close to the turn count. We have 12 turns left, excluding free turns from Eald'Narche. And they're down to what's... Definitely want to make sure that I don't blow this run by going over the turn count. Trey has a ton of skills left. That's so funny. But hey, that makes sense, these lower turn battles. Trey came out when battles lasted 100, 120 turns before you'd hit the turn limit. Now I was like, wait a minute, I still have my Ultimecia calls. Might as well frickin' use these things. It's like, it's damage, it doesn't take up a turn. I don't need to worry about... I was kind of holding them in case I needed to use the gravity effect that's on them. The 50% of the 75% gravity effect that's on them. Oh, and apparently calls trigger a turn for Trey's traps, I guess you'd call them. Trey's, yeah, what else would I call them? Skills, his traps. So that's interesting. That'd be, if you have a battering call, that'd be good to use for Trey with that. Like Kryle's Ray of Hope or something. Exceed Lance. Because why not? Gotta use these things, I still have 2 of them. I was being way too passive with Eald'Narche's skills, and that's why Terror fell off. Shouldn't have let that happen, but fortunately it works out anyways. More Vortex pluses. I didn't even see if Terror had worn off or not. I don't think so. But at this point we just need to hit them hard. We have fewer turns, and Aerith's only dealing 48,000 on her turns, so that's not good. Need to make sure we make up for Aerith's lack of damage on her turns. And so now with Eald'Narche, just going kind of skill spamming. You can burn out Eald'Narche fast that way, but well, what do I care? There's 6 turns left. Although, quite frankly, they're 5% HP, 4% HP. I'm pretty confident that I've got it at this point. Omega Javelin on B, so I don't accidentally break them. Not accidentally, but so I don't break them out of order. And then Exceed Lance wouldn't be a terrible idea because it's the highest damaging skill Eald'Narche has. But I want to break them out of order, not in order. So that way Eald'Narche can get as many free turns as possible. Although, yeah, at this point they're both at 2% HP. I'm just like, eh, whatever. I've got this. Yeah. Like Eald'Narche turns away like, whatever. This is done. We've won. When he uses Exceed Lance. Doesn't really matter what I do at this point. Pretty sure I Omega Javelin. Yep, free Omega Javelin. Because I want to do as much damage as possible. I'm not worried about the buff extensions. Because the battle will be over by the time they wear off. But I did want to make sure if I needed that last couple of Omega Javelins that I had them. And there's the battle, folks! And at this point I'm really nervous, like, do I make score because Trey died? I know that, and I made it. So I know that the no KO condition doesn't get triggered if you bring them back to life. I just wasn't sure if I was going to make score, and that happened, so that's pretty cool. And now it's time to go over ingots. Aerith is at 1 out of 3, like I said earlier. Eald'Narche 0 out of 3, and he doesn't... Whoops, didn't mean to do that. He does not have his EX boards equipped. Didn't mean to do that either. And he does not have his EX passive equipped. So Eald'Narche is definitely at 0 out of 3, and Trey has 1 point in armor.